morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. And my name is Cash. Today we are back in a 777. It's been a while since we've been in a 777. We're flying down to Providenciales today, and we are doing awesome. So this flight took off last night when I got home from work around 10 a.m. No, 10 p.m. Sorry. So we departed just around 10 to 11 p.m. from Vienna, and we're heading down to Punta Cana today. We're in the 777-200ER. We're descending from flight level 400 down to 3000, while we're on the GNS arrival for runway, I completely forgot. We're on a GLS, sorry, runway 08 arrival. Alright, yo, so this is just a great time to see how I pilot the 777 into any one of the locations here into the Caribbean. Now, again, it's been a while since I've flown a Boeing aircraft here. I did fly the 737, but the 737 and the 777 are two different, totally different aircrafts. Oops, I forgot that I didn't switch on my Wi-Fi on my phone. Alrighty, so now that we are on our way down, we're just cruising down pretty slow. Our end of descent is at about 112 nautical miles. You guys know that I'm currently only streaming my arrivals because there's a lot more to talk about on arrival. There's a lot more to do while we're on our arrival. We've already prepped for our approach, and we are now in our descent mode. Let's go ahead and check our checklist. That after takeoff was normal. Our descent, we have our recall checked. We have not yet gone ahead and set up our arrival, so we're gonna go flaps 30 for that one. Let's do one. No, we do /132. There we go. So 132 knots is gonna be our approach speed. Our notes are checked. Our auto brake, we are gonna select for auto brake 2 for our landing. Landing VRF and minimums are already set. Our minimums for today is 317, but we put it up to 320 to round it off. And our approach briefing for today is not fully complete yet, but if we go ahead, it's gonna be a GLS approach for runway 08. Punta Cana today, our weather is pretty good. Weather is 105 knots. We got pretty good visibility. Our temperature is 23 QNH is 1015. Our clouds are at around 1,600 feet and 7,000 broken. So pretty good for our arrival today. Transition altitude is 17,000 feet. And our missed approach procedure, we're climbed to Papa Charlie 257 on track 086. A left climbing turn, so we're going to be a left climbing turn up to 3,000, and we're going to hold at Agnel. But Agnel is also the initial approach fix, where we're going to start our approach or enter the approach for the GLS runway 08. So we are, again, auto brake 2 on that. Our aircraft is pretty okay for the arrival, so we have no issues in terms of operating the aircraft into Punta Cana today. So our approach briefing has been complete. We're not yet on approach. We're going to get rid of that checklist menu. Take a look at our status. Aircraft is perfectly fine. So there you go. Our packs are kind of equalizing at this time. Got an awesome soca music playing in the background here for this arrival. And yeah, we're pretty much just getting into Punta Cana today. We'll go ahead and pull up our charts for our arrival. Let's do our star. This is our approach here. We're heading in here. So this is the approach we're talking about here. We're going to be coming down to better. And we're going to head in here. And then we're approaching for runway. We're coming in through here, then inside. So when we're going around, we're climb up here, and then it's going to be a left-hand climbing turn. So we're climbing up to PC-12, and we're going to be around this area here to re-enter the approach for runway 08. So this was a pretty long overwater flight because after we left Vienna, went to take a nap because I was pretty tired from yesterday. We didn't have much flights, however, I was exhausted because we got a lot to do regardless. So took a nap, woke up. I'm still on VATSIM actually, so we are doing this flight on VATSIM. So if we run our approach here, so it's GLS runway 08. There we go. The missed approach procedure is shown here. Angle, and then they say we're gonna have to be doing an approach, so it's gonna be a left-hand circuit. But once we climb out of here, we should be able to rejoin the approach over to Volet and then approach into runway 08. Let's zoom in a little bit, and you can see the missed approach procedures here. This is our chart 12-40, which was effective the 10th of August. This was published on the 4th of August 2023, but it was effective on the 10th. So all the revisions were done. These are minimums for that GLS 317, so we upgraded up to 320. I tend to do that once it's beyond 5. I round it up to the highest. So I always round it up to the highest 10, which is the best move for this today, or for any one of them that you're going to be doing. Rounding it down is going to be bad for you because then you're going to be going down pretty low, and you don't want to be too low once you're on your approach, because you never know exactly what changes, and you don't know what NOTAMs are. Well, you will know what NOTAMs, but you don't know if certain things did go up, and the NOTAMs will tend to go out at specific times. So sometimes you may be there, and then all of a sudden something is right there in your midst. That's why it's always good to keep updated on your NOTAMs. Alright, we got standard here, but we're going to wait until we pass flight level 170. Let's check for the frequency. The tower frequency 118.8 is right there, so we're going to set that in our... Great, we do have something quickly. Hello 16, we're going to go ahead and switch over to 29er, 9er for us today. Impressive clouds out there, but our aircraft should be able to handle this. We're heading a left turn into here, so then that means that once we get here, we're going to be diving into a couple of clouds here with this 777. This is the G90 version, so we are rocking some pretty powerful engines here, over 112,000 pounds of thrust per engines, with a total of 224,000 pounds of thrust on both. One of the settings that I use here for today is that our 777, I did make adjustments to its FMS, so certain equipments that are not standard on this model are standard. I tend to fly with them because they're a lot safer. They have a lot better performance in terms of the aircraft. So what I feel is best and what I feel flies pretty well, I will go ahead and use it. Again, we do have a pretty nice Silca mix heading into the Caribbean, which is very, very good for the Caribbean approaches. So it puts you in the mood for flying today. I'm also, while I'm doing this, I'm pretty much doing this because during my flights, I tend to study a lot better. It helps me focus and it keeps me on track as to what I'm doing. Currently, I am redoing my CSEC, Maths and English. English, which was pretty easy for me, and Math. I didn't get the opportunity to do these two subjects. Even after paying for them in school, they told us that we were not able to do it. So we were rejected in doing our Math and English. So I'm redoing them, paid for them, because in order for me to get into the flight school, that is something that is required, and I have to go ahead and get it. And also as well, for my job, because I'm trying to look at two different career paths, either air traffic control or going into flight school, and whichever one comes first, I will go ahead and accept it. So currently, I'm working on Math and English for CSEC, which is going to give me the last two required subjects in order for me to apply for, or for me to complete my application for flight school, and then it's only working on getting my my funding for school. As I'm flying on a regular day, I'm flying regularly here on flight sim because it keeps my skills sharp. We're on that left-hand turn right now, heading into Punta Cana. So as you see, we already on the approach. All right, let's switch to rain radar over here on the co-pilot side. Switch down to 20 nautical miles. But yeah, so I have to be studying today. Well, not study. I would more or less say practice, because you don't study math, you practice math. And I'm pretty bad. I wouldn't say bad at it, but I go based upon understanding. And if I don't understand something, I'm gonna be pretty bad at it. So gotta get my A game on, fully focused. Um, and most of my flights, I will do a couple of flights today, but I'm going to be doing them in pretty much of a longer format, which is like about 2 hours, almost 3 to 4 hours long, which is the best format for me. I feel that this is going to allow me to practice what I'm practicing, and then we move forward from there. And I'm sorry if we do have a lot of dogs barking in my background here. I do have dogs in my yard, which don't respect anyone doing their flights. You notice this weather looks intense on its side. Alright, yo, so sorry about that. I had to just go outside and get that thing to shut up because it's seeing people and it's pretty aggressive when it gets down to it. My room that I do my recordings aren't well, it's a little bit opened up, so a lot of different sounds, odd things do happen, and you will hear it. We're below 10,000. Our landing lights go on. And then we're going to go ahead and turn our seatbelt signs to on. All right, no smoking. Seatbelt signs are all on. All right, so based on the cloud coverage, I'm guessing over the airport is pretty nice, but we are approaching through some serious clouds here today. Nothing that beautiful 777 can't handle, really. All right, so, and it's starting again. Not started approaching the path here, but we're cool. We don't see any rain ahead of us on our weather radar, so we're all good. Winds are pretty basic. Winds are pretty good, so should not be any effect for this aircraft. We're going to be popping through this huge piece of cloud right here. Normally we would go around this, but we can still fly through. I don't think it should have any effect on us. We don't see the aircraft arrive in here. Let's go back to our start for the RNAV arrival. Runway 08. Here we come into that approach. Ooh, that cloud looks pretty dark headed in here. You can see the streaks on the windshield. I would not suggest doing this. Typically when you're doing this approach, you'd fly through here and then go around the this pretty dark cloud. But although there's no rain, but you're gonna have to be cautious about going through clouds like these, because clouds like these do have a huge amount of turbulence. But because I have the turbulence set to low, this should not cause any issues with the aircraft. I need to switch it to realistic and see how it feels, just for the testing purposes of this. We can see our airspeed increase, and that means that we did go into an area of some moderate chop here. We do need some drag. So let's go ahead and pull out the speed brake. Again, this is mainly due to the turbulence within the clouds here. And again, we're over land, so you should expect some slight turbulence as we pop through the clouds here. We're switching over to the Punta Cana tower to let them know our intentions here today. Punta Cana traffic, Austrian 9561 heavy. We are on the GLS approach for runway 08. We are about 7 miles from Agnol, descending through 5,300. And we are inbound for the GLS runway 08. All right. All right, we're going flaps 1. Aircraft is going to start slowing down. Switch down to 10 nautical miles. As you see, we popped through some clouds here, and the weather on the other side is beautiful. So weather up on the runway is pretty good. So should be okay for us to get in for our arrival. This is going to be a manual landing because we do all of our landings as manual unless our visibility is down to Cat 3 conditions, but we're in pretty good, so we're in VFR conditions. Even with marginal IFR conditions, we tend to fly our aircraft manually because we are able to get down and see our arrival, which is somewhat more realistic. Aircraft is starting to slow down. We were at 220, now we're dropping down to 210. And as we turn, we're going to start losing some speed here. The blue indication right here is our thrust lever position for our thrust levers here, our physical thrust levers. But we have it set so that we are able to see the position. We're going flaps 5. Alright guys, so if you know me and you know my the way that I fly, I always tell you guys you have to be ahead of your aircraft, never behind. So you always gotta be trying your best to be ahead of the aircraft at all times. Never try. We're gonna engage our approach mode at this time, and then we're gonna go ahead and dump our landing here so that we can get a little bit of speed bleeding off here. Alright, yo, we're turning on to that final. Flaps 15. Punta traffic, Austrian 90561, we are on final for runway 08. Alright. There we go, we have the runway in sight. Dump our flaps. Level change, reduce our speed. .132 set. Spoilers are armed. Flaps going to full. And we're doing our checklist. Our altimeters are set. Our flaps going down to full, and our before landing checklist, or our landing checklist, is going to be complete. Alright, we're fully manual right now. Alright, our fly-by-wire trim ref speed is so we're trimming our aircraft for that reference. A little bit to the left of our flight path here, and we are starting to descend. We're descending a little bit too fast, but we want to try to
2500.
Trim the aircraft to slow down right now before we hit 1,000 feet HEL. Because below 1,000 feet, if we're still in our configuration, our nose down attitude, it's going to be an unstable arrival or an unstable approach. So we're just trimming our aircraft out for this arrival. All right, so we're gonna pull back on our thrust levers here. And then we're gonna disconnect our auto throttle. Yes, sir, we know. Right now we're manually controlling the aircraft fully. We're gonna trim the aircraft out. Before we hit 1,000 feet AGL, we're gonna need to be at least 1,000 feet per minute on that descent. We're a little bit to the left of the center line here. We're just following the stuff right here. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna be a little quiet while I focus on this landing. Check. Oh, not too much. I'm aware there's no auto land. Coming in pretty high.
500.
That means we're gonna land a little bit further than where we want to. Oops, we're a little bit to the left there.
300. 200.
Again, these trees, we are gonna be a little bit higher on the arrival.
Minimums.
Let's pop out on this. These trees are
Sink
pretty
rate.
high.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
Get some power in there.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
And we're on ground. Right, yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Punta Cana. While we did come in a little bit high, all right, here we go. Go ahead and get our APU started as we exit the runway. Flaps are going up. All right, so let's get here off on Alpha. Put the gun on traffic. Austrian 90561 heavy. We are exited runway 08 via Alpha, taxiing to the gates via Alpha. All right, so we're up. Strobes are off, and here we go. Move this caution. All right, switch our flight directors to off. And again, we had to remain a little bit high due to the fact that we have a lot of trees pretty high on the approach there for runway 08. And again, with some of the landings that you are going to be performing, especially when you have to do a dive like that, You want to get off of the power, and then once you initiate the flare again, you want to need to add some power into the aircraft so that the so that your sink is arrested and you can land properly without having to slam the aircraft into the ground or stall the aircraft. You notice we were flying pretty slowly there, at least at 112 knots. We got the gates over there. Our APU is active. Everything else looks good on the aircraft in terms of we're doing here today. And let's go to the airport. Nope, that's takeoff minimums. We need, oh, there it is, very good. I'm gonna taxi out. Sorry, we're kind of looking down at this time. Trying to figure out if we should go left or right. We can just keep going down here. We'll cross the runway on Alpha there. With the gunner traffic, Austrian 90516 Heavy. We are crossing runway 27-09er at Alpha. I mean, you don't really see much traffic here, but your radio calls are always important when you're on the ground, especially when you want to notify traffic of your intentions. We don't see any traffic on approach on either side. We should have taken runway 09er, but 08 was already inbound or set up. Alright, so on the ground already, we're all set here for our taxi into our parking area. Yes, I do fly with a co-pilot because, I mean, all things considered, flying with myself is just too boring. Make our turn in here. Got a little bit of stutter. Alright, we got Alpha International right here. Alright, gate 1 is for our international flights today. Hopefully we are able to get into one of these gates here. Gonna turn the aircraft fully. Hopefully our nose gets over here. Alright, adjust our turn speed. As we get in, we're gonna go ahead and switch off our taxi lights and our runway turn off. And here we go. Alright, we can stop right here. Parking brake is set for today. And here we go. Engines off. Beautiful engine rollback there. Beacon lights are going off. Let's go ahead and call up GSX. Yes, I am aware. Let's operate the stairs. We're gonna set our hydraulic panel. So elect one, C1 and C2. There we go. We're gonna switch these off. And our APU again is gonna be on. So we're all set with the elect panel. Our fuel pumps are gonna be going to off right now. Fuel pumps still on, off, and our weather radar is going off. So that checklist is complete. Steers operation is complete. Let's go ahead now and request the additional service, which is going to be the PMDG ground power unit. GSX is going to activate it, which it did not because the chocks are not set. And then we can request the ground power and the air conditioning unit. Ground power is active. We're going to switch off our APU and let that APU go into cool down mode.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Requested boarding.
Bus is coming.
And we are all set for this flight today. Let's get out of here. And again, guys, welcome to Punta Cana. Beautiful weather today in the Austrian livery, Spirit of Austria, for the PMDG 777. Let's see how our landing went. Minus 113 feet per minute. This is an awesome landing. We had 5-degree pitch, and we were at 27 FPS during the landing. So we get about 30 FPS in our sim. Hey, buddy. But again, guys, we are just completing our deboarding. The aircraft performed flawlessly, as all PMDG products do perform. It's an amazing product. Again, I'm going to be flying a couple of Airbuses because I mainly fly Airbuses. I love the Airbus. The 737, I'm waiting for us to do some of the United milk runs down in the they're like the ones that we did previously. I'm gonna try to do a couple of them with the 737-8 because they do have it in FS 2024 now. And again, with my settings, I may need to adjust a few things because I may try to get us into real turbulence to see how all the aircrafts perform during the course of a real turbulence situation. So as our passengers disembark, we did park a little bit to the left there. We could have just rolled a little bit to the right, but still fine. I think we stopped in the right part, in the right place, but we just needed to move a little bit. I just did not want to get my engines or suck one of these up into the engines, so we stopped right about there. We did not have a ground marshaller to get us in, which is still fine. Again, the 777, a beautiful aircraft by PMDG, the 200ER. Beautiful detail, amazing performance in terms of, oh hi. Okay, so that's the ground power that gets connected into the ground right there. We should have used a ground power cart, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful aircraft, really, and it did perform very well. Again, our landing rate today was minus 113 feet per minute, which is a very smooth landing. We had at least 30 FPS while we were landing in here. It is set up that, you know, it's my sim is set up in a way that it will be able to squeeze out at least 30 FPS on each flight. I mean, 60 FPS is great, but I would much rather see a lot better sceneries when I'm coming in than to fly without, you know, those sceneries. And again, we're not using any frame generation or anything. The sim is pretty much using TAA, no frame generation. Almost everything is up on high. Except though I can make adjustments, and then the adjustments that I make would, you know, get better performance. But I feel okay with what I have right now. Gotta watch where you're going before you not get knocked the heck out, bro. All right, so let's just keep on heading down here. Engine does have some signs of repair there. Checking our brakes here, making sure that there are no leaks and our brakes are in good condition. MDPC does employ a persistence model with their aircraft, and wow, I'm telling you,
Passenger's bus is coming.
attention to detail is second to none. Tires look good. We did have some brand new tires added to the aircraft before our departure. So this aircraft just came out from getting some new tires, new brakes. Again, some more repairs being done here. Engines look beautiful on this aircraft. There's a little bit of drop in performance there when we spin around a little bit. Static ports look good, and we're just gonna cross this. So we're all set here. This aircraft is gonna, you know, be parked here for a little while. We did do a pretty long flight. So again, we're gonna hop into an A320, A321, whichever one seems a lot better for me today, while we go ahead and study for our exams tomorrow. The baggage is unloaded. We're just waiting for the next passenger bus to come to take the rest of the passengers.
Passengers, the boarding starting.
So our baggage unloading is complete. And we're all set. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this approach and landing. We had no air traffic or air traffic control ATC in Punta Cana around our area here. But we were able to get in pretty smoothly, actually, after flying through some clouds. These clouds were an amazing addition to our approach, and then busting out of the clouds into just pure, clean, smooth weather. That was just an amazing feeling. Alright, so we're going to complete our flight here. We're going to submit that. Besides that, we're going to change a few settings in here. Go into assistances. Let's see if we can find our turbulence. See, we got our turbulence set to low right here in our settings. Gonna set that to realistic and save it. We're gonna be testing out the realistic turbulence to see how we handle this in our upcoming flight. Well, guys, thank you again so much for joining me on the approach and landing. I will see you guys shortly on our departure from Juliana. So we're gonna be doing a flight from Juliana, most likely up to Boston, in the A321 from FS Labs. Gonna see how this aircraft handles its flight from takeoff to landing. So you guys will see how I prepare a flight, which you guys always do see with most of my flights, and we'll see you guys in Juliana. Thank you so much for joining me on this, guys. Have a great day.